We live? Finally. Hello everybody. Sorry for the delay, apologies. It's Nicaragua Standard Time. We're making the best out of some technical issues. We are in the middle of a thunderstorm here in Managua, and unfortunately that messed up our network connections and everything. So apologies for that, but we are here. And thank you for joining us once again in this special Joya Nicaragua HERF. Today we're going to be dedicating our noon to Antaño 1970 and Antaño Dark Corojo. Ivan is joining us, Carlos, and later on we're going to have a very special guest, Rudy, our master roller. Rudy El Macizo is going to be showcasing his great talent in making Antaño and Antaño 1970. So welcome everybody. We hope you enjoy the noon. Ask questions, comment, interact. We have some special giveaways later on. We're going to have a special giveaway. Leave us your best Antaño moment, your best Antaño memory, and we'll be raffling off a very special gift by the end of the show. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, man. Yeah, well, how are you guys doing? Are you ready?
Ready.
So we're here to talk about the Antaño brand, right? Which is, we call it, or the legendary Nicaraguan character cigar. And it all goes back more than 15 years ago, in the early 2000s, when our US distributor wanted basically a follow-up to the Clásico cigar, which is the first cigar brand of Joya Nicaragua as a factory, but with a darker wrapper. And so around 50 blends were made, but we never hit the nail, right? At a meeting in the US, our factory general manager, Don Leonel, which is still the factory manager, took some blends to the US for the distributor to taste, and they kept discarding them, saying, it's not it, it's not it, it's not it. And then Don Leo, remember, he had brought some cigars for his personal use, just to enjoy them, to try them on.
A special stash.
A special stash, right, that Alberto Martinez, the production manager, had given him.
By the way, it was supposed to be only for him.
Yeah, it was only for him. They weren't blends to showcase or to give away, right, or to share with anyone else, because it was actually a joke that Alberto had done to Don Leo. He used some very, not rare tobaccos, but tobaccos that the factory didn't use for production. Very thick leaves, very strong tobacco that was only used in very small quantities, and he wanted to mess with Don Leo, right? But Don Leo didn't know about this. He ran out of blends, basically, out of samples, and he went to his hotel room, picked them up, shared them, and well, the rest is history. The distributor at the time said, well, this is it. This is the cigar we're looking for, and next thing you know, they're releasing it in the next trade show, the version of the IPCPR at that time.
RTDA.
It was a big hit, and so that's how the Antaño 1970 came to be. Basically, a mistake of some sort, but a good one.
Antaño, the name Antaño, which is very difficult to pronounce, especially to our English-speaking friends. Antonio is very well known as Antonio. Antaño in Spanish translates to yesteryear. It's a sort of interesting expression because not a lot of people use it very often. Yesteryear instead of yesterday, and it came about because what our team was looking for with this new cigar back in 2001 was to sort of bring back the original blend of Nicaraguan cigars from the 1970s. Hence the name Antaño 1970. back in the 1970s, when Joya de Nicaragua was the only Nicaraguan cigar available, Nicaraguan cigars were considered to be strong, stronger than Cuban, to have more body, more character. And this was the idea that our team had, because that was what people were expecting of Joya de Nicaragua. So in 2001, they came together, Dr. Cuenca, Mario, Leonel, our US distributor, and they decided to name this masterpiece Antaño, yesteryear, 1970, alluding to that special characteristics of the blend back in the 1970s. And that's how it's born, Antaño 1970.
Now, what would you say is the main characteristics of this particular blend? Carlos mentioned, and Don Leonel always tells the story about using some tobaccos that were already part of Joya de Nicaragua, but that hadn't been used at the moment or before that, because we're coming from making actually mild blends. What's the main differentiator of these tobaccos? How would you describe it?
When Antaño came to be in 2001, it was a game changer. It was the only truly 100% Nicaraguan puro. And when we talk about puro, we mean of one unique origin. So Antaño 1970 was using all Nicaraguan tobaccos, but not any Nicaraguan tobacco. It was using the thickest, the strongest of the Nicaraguan tobaccos available. From the wrapper, the binder, to the fillers, the team decided to choose the thickest, with the mentality that the thickness and robustness of the leaf would translate into thickness of smoke, robustness of flavor, and strength. And the main characteristics of Antaño and the tobacco that it contains is that it is the thickest of the leaves from our farms located in Estelí. The wrapper comes from Jalapa, and the fillers come from Estelí, grown in the rich volcanic soils, dense soils of Estelí. And that's how we have the cigar. Interestingly enough, many people ask if it's the same blend since 2001 to today, and it is in fact the same blend, the same tobacco from the same fields, from the same seed, which by the way is a proprietary seed from the grower that we continue to use to this day. So that's part of the main attributes of this.
So are you saying that's the same blend of what, for the past 15, 16 years?
It is the same blend. It is the same blend, and some people ask us very often if we've changed or modified the blend, because they feel that the cigar is not as strong as it used to be. And here we enter a very delicate discussion about the term used to be. Perception, taste profile, evolution of flavor, your own ability as a smoker to enjoy and to be able to tolerate more strength over time. So it does continue to be the same blend, although the profile has evolved over time due to many characteristics that we're going to be talking about later on.
Another funny fact about the story behind the Antaño is that, as you mentioned, right, that was the first time these kind of tobaccos were used. And Don Leo tells us it was rare at the time because they didn't meet the factory standards. Because obviously at the time, the profile for cigars wasn't as strong as what the Antaño 1970 came to be. So do you want to talk about the strength profile and how it has?
Yes, but before we do that,
All right.
we have a commercial break. We want to thank our partners in crime that join us in this HERF. We are drinking today Flor de Caña, our national rum, 18-year-old rum. For many, the best rum in the world. And we are also drinking.
I'm pairing it with Moro Potente, Lado Oscuro, which means the dark side. It goes really well with the Antaño Dark Rojo, which is the younger brother of the Antaño 1970. But it's actually, although sweeter, even stronger than the original Antaño.
And we are smoking the three special cigars today. What are we smoking?
I'm having the Antaño 1970 Machitos that actually comes in a 5-pack, 5-pound petaca. Very practical. Usually the one that I carry with me when we have any sort of events.
So the Machito is a great cigar. It's a 4 3/4 by 42. It's a small cigar, but it packs a very nice punch to it. It continues to have the profile of the Antaño 1970, but in a smaller format, so very enjoyable. And we are also smoking
I'm having La Pesadilla,
Nightmare.
the
which
Nightmare.
translates to the nightmare, yeah. Which I hope not to have a nightmare, but a nice dream later on.
Most of the names of the Antaño Arco Rojo actually translate to something not only dark but also heavy.
Yes.
The hammer,
The hammer, el martillo, la pesadilla, la niveladora, the bulldozer.
bulldozer. So you sort of get the idea of how strong this cigar is.
And this size, by the way, is the Gran Consul format, which is 4 3/4 by 60 ring gauge. It is our most popular format ever produced in the factory. So if you have any Antaños around, we invite you to light them up, smoke, come join with us, come talk to us, ask questions, comments, and we would love to share with you.
I'm asking our friends at production and backstage to showcase the photos that we have or product shots, right? So you know the whole family, because Antaño 1970 is actually our most prolific cigar, sort of say. It's the one that we have in the most quantity of vitolas, different sizes. And another request that we have is go ahead and ask us anything. I have the computer because of that. I want to read your comments. Yeah, we do have a couple shout outs from Panama. Henry Wells saying, "What up, brothers? How y'all doing?" And Bones is asking what was the first JDN cigar. He's saying he smoked Tubo back in 1989 that had a gold band with just 3 green leaves. And he's been smoking Antaño ever since it came out. That's actually the Joya Nicaragua Clásico.
Which is now the Clásico, but it was the original.
Yeah, when the Joya Nicaragua brand started, when the factory was born in 1968, Joya Nicaragua only had one cigar, and it was called Joya Nicaragua. And that came in a lot of different sizes. So that's the cigar you're talking about. 2001, we came out with the Antaño 1970, and ever since the industry has evolved, it's been changing. So now we launch different brands. But back in the day, the Clásico brand was the only brand that the factory had, and it was so for around 2 decades.
So people ask us or tell us a lot about their stories around Antaño, and many people in fact confuse Joya Nicaragua brand with Antaño, because obviously both brands are present in the packaging, and we feel very proud that that's one of the reasons why we are sharing these stories with you guys, is that Antaño 1970, since the moment it came to market, it's been the jewel in our crown. It's been growing sustainably year by year. But not only that, it's one of the go-to smokes of a lot of people out there. And it's, in a world where we constantly have new things coming about, new cigars coming to the stores every week, it's always good to go back and to remember that original cigar that for many people brought them in love with cigar smoking. And Antaño is one of those cigars, and we're very proud of that. Obviously, the team that's responsible of making that cigar, that some of them have been constantly making that cigar since 2001 without changing. They are the ones responsible of that masterpiece of a cigar.
We also have to say that it's not always such a romantic story behind the first time you had an Antaño. We have been doing events for the past few years in the United States, and I would say probably over 50% of the time people, when they tell the story about the Antaño, they also tell stories about sweating, knees being weakened.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a powerful cigar. It's one that we definitely do not recommend for people that are starting to smoke, but it's a great cigar for those who have been, little by little, developing their palate and enjoying Nicaraguan cigars. At least from our standards and to many, many people, when you think about a Nicaraguan cigar, the Antaño 1970 is one of those brands that come into mind.
Well,
because of the character also.
We go out and we hear people saying the best Nicaraguan cigar ever made, and we're not saying this out of, but it is the best cigar ever made. In fact, it is the first cigar that changed the game for many people in the industry. There are so many people that came to the industry because they fell in love with the cigar, not only smokers, but also cigar makers. When Antaño 1970 came to be in 2001 in an industry that was generally populated by an offer of cigars that was more mild, medium-bodied, a lot of people were astounded by this cigar that even though it was strong, it was very enjoyable. So it started a trend. It started the trend of upward in terms of strength, body, more strength. And up to a few years ago, every cigar that you saw in the marketplace was stronger than the previous one. And there are companies that even came to exist with the mentality of only producing full flavor, full strength cigars. And Antaño 1970 was the catalyst of this movement. With that movement, however, the tolerance of people to smoke cigars, the strength of the cigar has also evolved. And that's one of the discussions that we always have. What is strength? What is strength for you? Carlos' strength level is different from my strength tolerance level, it's different from Ivan, and obviously it's different from Rudy, who spends his day smoking Antaño.
And it's a natural evolution, to say, in the sense that I remember the first time I had an Antaño, and it sort of kicked my ass. But you enjoy it. It has this great flavor. Now we're watching the Antaño 1970 video.
Antaño, in Spanish, means yesterday, a word that perfectly expresses the soul of this cigar. This is a full-body cigar, wrapper, Nicaraguan Habano Criollo. Filler and binder also from Nicaragua. This is an authentic Nicaraguan cigar. This is an ultra-robust and spiky cigar with a long tip, a great body and aroma. Very satisfying smoke. We hope that you enjoy smoking Antaño as much as we enjoy making them.
And on that video you just saw, that's Mario. He's our sales manager, and he couldn't be here with us, but he's there on the video talking a little bit about the Antaño 1970. I'm gonna acknowledge some of our viewers. We got people from Germany greeting us. Thorsten, hello, mein Freund. We got Bones asking us which one's stronger, the Antaño or the Antaño Arco Rojo, and we're gonna answer that in a bit. We have Bryson asking us, well, what's the difference between the Antaño 1970 and the Antaño Arco Rojo? And he has a specific question on the wrapper. Because on the website, the information that we have, it says Habano Criollo from Nicaragua. So he's asking us if that's a cross between Cuban seed and how that came to be, Cuban and Nicaraguan seed. We got Ethan saying hi from South Dakota. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Ben.
People from Romania, Daniel. So, all right, how about we start talking about the differences between both cigars?
So we have Antaño 1970 is the first one that came out. This is a full-bodied 5 out of 5 cigars in terms of strength. The fillers, once again, are all Nicaraguan, grown in Estelí, and the wrapper is indeed Habano Criollo from Jalapa. And then we have Dar Corojo, and as its name refers to, Antaño Dar Corojo uses, and this is the first difference with the Antaño 1970, it's a very dark, thick Corojo wrapper, while the Antaño 1970 uses a Habano Criollo wrapper. And the second, and perhaps one of the most important differences, is that the Antaño Dar Corojo, and if you go to the cigar, it actually has a second band that says doble fuerte in the bottom, which basically means double strong. And the reason why is that is we use 2 leaves of ligero. Generally, a cigar is made of 5 parts: the wrapper, the binder, and then 3 types of fillers: the seco, the viso, and the ligero. The ligero is the one that adds the strength. We're gonna see more details about that later on. But generally, for the strength, we use 1 leaf or half a leaf of ligero. In the case of Dar Corojo, we're using 2 full leaves of ligero, and that's why you get the kick. And as we will see with Rudy showcasing us the actual making of the cigar, the 2 qualities of the ligero is that it adds the strength, it adds the flavor, but it also has some issues with the burn, and we're gonna demonstrate that in a little bit. What's the other question?
Well, it was about the differences and about the Habano Criollo seed, the Habano Criollo from Nicaragua seed, how it came to be.
The Habano Criollo, it's actually the seed comes from Cuba. It was brought originally to the American continent, or to the continent of the Americas, by Cuban immigrants before and after the Cuban Revolution. And it has gone through a very long process of modification, natural modification to the habitat, both in Honduras, the DR, and even Nicaragua, that we call it criollo. So the original seed, but transformed through time due to the influence of nature and the work of the tobacco growers. We call it criollo because it's the typical name when you have crossing of the races here in Latin America. And that's why we call that seed the Nicaraguan grown, the Nicaraguan version of the Cuban seed.
We actually have a map of Nicaragua showing the most prolific tobacco growing regions. Can we get that on? All right, and so you guys know. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Right there you got the 4 main regions: Estelí, Condega, Jalapa, and Ometepe. We're not going to talk about Ometepe today. We're going to save that topic for maybe another one. But what's important for you guys to know, some of you might already know it, especially those who have been able to come to the Cigar Safari with us and the Drew State team, is that Jalapa and Estelí are the 2 main growing regions of tobacco in Nicaragua. Jalapa grows around roughly 60%, I would say, of Nicaraguan tobacco, and Estelí is the other one. These 2 regions differentiate themselves by the type of tobacco that you can get out of it. The tobacco that comes from Estelí is usually a little bit thicker and stronger, more in your face, we like to say, and the one from Jalapa is usually more of a gentle type of smoke. They both are great tobaccos, and what's important about the Nicaraguan tobacco is the way they blend with each other. So as Juan was saying, in the case of the Antaño, we decided to use 100% Nicaraguan tobacco, and it's just a matter of how you mix those leaves and how each region brings something different to the tobacco.
Can we see the other picture, the one with the viso ligero? All right. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the different kinds of tobacco of one plant.
So that's an image of a traditional tobacco plant, at least with the nomenclature that we use locally in Nicaragua. And we generally have 3 types of leaves coming from one same plant of tobacco. The secos, which refers to the lower third part of the plant, gives us a leaf that is very thin. And if we can showcase this to the camera. Yeah. So we have a thin leaf, which even you can see the typical veins on the leaf, and you can see through me. This is called the seco, and the seco, it helps the cigar to burn. It adds a little bit to the aroma, but it adds to the combustibility of the cigar itself. Then, as you remember in the image that we saw of the plant, the second part of the plant, the second group of leaves, we call them the visos. The visos are generally a little bit more thicker than the secos, and they are responsible to adding to the flavor of the cigar. There are a lot of technicalities that we won't have enough time to go into, at least not today, with respect to the primings, the periods on how often the leaves are harvested and everything. But the main point is that the viso leaf is responsible to adding flavor to the cigar. And finally, the third important filler leaf that we have is the ligero. And as you can see, the difference between the viso, which is this one, and the ligero in this. Se fue el audio. Ahora sí, we're on. So we're gonna show you, yeah, we're gonna light up a leaf of viso to see how it generally burns.
Don't freak, Rudy.
So as you can see, the leaf generally burns relatively easily. It opens a big hole in it, and then it goes away. But then we have the ligero, and if you can see, this is a very thick, almost cardboard-like leaf. And when we try to light it up,
It's a while. Ouch.
it takes a while. Actually, it takes a lot of effort to burn this tobacco. And this is not only one of the most difficult elements of working with the ligero leaf, but the good part of it is that it gives a beautiful, delicious aroma, and the flavor, obviously, it's extraordinary.
Thank you, Juan. And well, we're gonna talk a little bit now with the tobacco expert himself, Mr. Rudy El Macizo, which we haven't talked about what El Macizo translates to. Macizo means the solid one, or the mountain. And here he is. This is Rudy, Master Torcedor of Joya de Nicaragua. He's also an international star. Been traveling around Europe for a little bit, Germany, Spain. Yeah, he's everyone who visits the factory knows him, and well, he's here to help us showcase a little bit about how the Antaño cigar is rolled.
So Rudy, by the way, Rudy, welcome. Thank you for joining us. He's gonna do his best effort to speak English. English. Rudy has been in more than 1,000 events in Nicaragua, but he's also been in Switzerland, in Spain, in Germany, and hopefully soon he'll be coming out to the United States. So if you ever have the chance to visit with Rudy and smoke one of his cigars, it's great. So, bienvenido, Rudy. So with Rudy, what we want to do is that we basically want him to showcase us firsthand how to make a cigar, a Antaño cigar. So all the tobaccos that he's going to be using today are from the Antaño blend. So from the binder, all are from the Antaño blend. But this is Rudy's special take on the Antaño.
Can we have a close-up on his hands? And now, Rudy, contanos un poquito lo que vas haciendo y lo vamos contando nosotros.
Bueno,
Lo que empezamos en español y nosotros traducimos.
Estás a esta cámara.
Bueno, lo primero que empezamos a hacer es poner el capote y hacer la persona derecha.
So first off, what he's going to do is he's going to grab the binder leaf, and since he's right-handed, ¿cómo lo agarras?
Aquí en Nicaragua a los derechos nos enseñan a usar un puro izquierdo, ¿verdad? Lo cogemos de esta manera, cogiendo el seco, cogiendo el capote de esta manera, cogiendo la tabla.
So he grabs the second leaf on his left hand.
Cogemos lo que en el piso. Nosotros en Nicaragua, hoy en Nicaragua trabajamos con tabaco semi-entubado.
So what we do at the Joya factory is we use a tobacco semi-tube, that the method of cigar bunching, of tobacco bunching.
Cogemos lo que es ligero, que es la última parte que se recoge.
So hace ligero leaf.
Tabaco, que es la que tiene menos combustión, que es la que va en la parte del centro.
That's the one that goes in the middle. That's the one that has less of combustion, but it provides the strength.
Es la que permite que tenga una ceniza bastante placentera.
So this is a very important point. The position of the leaves in the tube or the bunch, the fact that the ligero is in the center, in the middle of the tube, allows for the cigar to burn evenly around. And that's why most of the times you will see that when you drop your ash, you will have sort of a small peak or volcano that we call it. That is because the ligero leaf inside of the cigar is burning slower than the other tobaccos around it. And that's what you get.
Podemos enrollar el tabaco de una manera para que haya una buena fluidez de aire.
So he proceeds to roll the cigar.
Le ponemos bien. Podemos ver que está bien torcido.
Ahí que probas cuando lo abrí.
Está bien torcido el tabaco.
Alright, so he's just testing that the cigar is well rolled. Pero esto no es algo que haces obviamente en la producción
No,
de video.
de hecho no, pero para que vean que realmente trabajamos de una forma que los tabacos oscuros vayan de una manera uniforme.
Alright, so this is obviously something that's not done on the everyday production, but it's just a showcase that what he does is well balanced, the whole cigar with the tobacco leaves inside of it.
Usamos un poco de lo que es un pegamento natural, bueno, muy conocido como tragacán.
Now, what he just added is a vegetable oil that has no smell, no flavor, and then he proceeds to put it on the molds. Now,
Con referencia.
this is very important because that's just a bunch of the cigars with the binder leaves on the outside that goes into the mold, into the press, and afterwards what you get, ¿qué es lo que tenés después? ¿Tenés muestras de?
Después de lo de la prensa, por lo general nosotros prensamos los puros entre 40 minutos a una hora.
So it goes on the press for about 30 minutes to an hour, and that's what comes out of it.
Al tabaco así dejaron que nosotros lo vamos a trabajar.
So that's called the bunch, el bonche. By the way, the bonche is an Anglicism that over the time we went from being a bunch of leaves and we use it now in Spanish as bonche.
Tenemos lo que es la capa.
So basically, the only leaf that's missing now is the wrapper leaf, la capa, and that's the most delicate leaf of the cigar.
Esta es lo que es la parte delicada, por lo general acá en Nicaragua, las mujeres son las que hacen este proceso. Tienen las manos.
At the factory, it's not the buncher doesn't apply the wrapper leaf necessarily. We work in couples, so there's one person, usually a male, doing the bunching, and then there's a female applying the wrapper leaf.
Pero habemos varones que lo podemos hacer muy bien.
Yeah, but Rudy does it all. Yeah.
He has delicate hands.
Por lo general quedar puro, tiene que tener 3 vueltas.
The standard is that every cigar has to have at least three rounds, three rolls of the wrapper. So every time you pick up a cigar, notice on how many rolls or seams the wrapper has. So he's very delicately applying the wrapper, the cap of the wrapper.
Oh, this is the cap, and usually we have we call it a triple cap.
Triple cap.
And that's a seam that you can see, right? You don't want to cut underneath that because it can unravel.
Lo cortamos y pasamos a botar lo que es el gorro.
He's cutting the tobacco for the cap. Ese que es un Gran Cónsul. So this is the Antaño 1970 Gran Cónsul de Vitola that Rudy's making. But yeah, Rudy style, which is awesome.
Rudy, ¿cuáles son algunas de las preguntas más comunes que tienen de los consumidores? I'm asking Rudy what are some of the main or most common questions that he gets from consumers and people during events.
Bueno, lo primero, ¿qué es lo que hago?
What is it that you're doing? How is the cigar being rolled? What else?
Digo que soy un torcedor de Joya de Nicaragua. Muchas veces me preguntan qué tipo de tabaco es el que a mí me gusta.
¿Qué tipo de tabaco te gusta?
Y ese es el problema. Claro, porque Joya de Nicaragua Antaño es el tabaco, el primero que empecé a fumar no fue en una línea clásica, bueno, de la empresa y el que más me ha gustado. Y todos los días tengo el placer de fumar 2 o 3 cigarros, ¿verdad?
Okay, so here's the thing. Basically, people wanna, when Rudy is making cigars at an event, people wanna know what is it that he's smoking, what is his favorite cigar, and he says that it's a tough question because you might have people that you know that they're not gonna be able to handle an Antaño 1970, but this is a cigar that he smokes on an everyday basis. He was telling us that he usually has 3 to 4 cigars a day, and the Antaño 1970 is the one that he always goes, he always chooses. So.
We have a question from Bones again. He's saying, how long is a tobacco aged before rolling? So maybe we can walk them through the pre-industry process.
There are 4 main stages in the cigar making process. The first one is the agricultural stage, in which we grow the tobacco leaf in the fields. We cure the leaf. The second stage is the pre-industry or the fermentation stage, in which we basically age the tobaccos, but at the same time make the tobacco smokable. And I'll explain a little bit more about that process because it's the most important process that differentiates tobacco for cigar making, which we call dark tobacco, dark air-cured tobacco, from other tobaccos for other tobacco products. The third stage is the cigar manufacturing process, which is actually what Rudy is showcasing us, obviously at a bigger scale. And the fourth stage is the commercial part, in which we sell the cigars to a distributor and they get to your guys, to your hands, to the store, and you're able to enjoy them. But between the moment the seed of the tobacco plant is planted in the field to the moment the cigar reaches your hand using that tobacco, a lot of time has gone by. 4, 5, 6, even more years have gone by. The agricultural stage is relatively quick in terms of length. It's about 2 to 3 months. We generally in Nicaragua is from October, November to May of the next year. Then we go into the long part, which is the pre-industrial or the fermentation part, in which we basically build these big beds of tobacco that we call pilones, each one weighing around 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of tobacco. And to those pilones we add a little bit of moisture, and the combination of the heat and the weight and the moisture, the pressure of the weight and the moisture generates heat, and that heat fermentates the tobacco leaf. And this is a process that generally will last from sometime between 12 months up to 24 months, depending on the variety of the leaf. And so now we have 12 to 14 months of pre-aging or fermentation of the leaf. And then we age the tobacco once it's fermented. And we age it, generally most factories have a minimum stock of 1 year of tobacco, but generally we'll have more, 1 year, 2 years of tobacco. And after that, we make the cigars with those leaves, and we age the cigars. Generally, the average aging period of a cigar itself varies from factory to factory. In our case, although our standard, a minimum standard is 90 days, we have a stock of cigars in the case of Joya, Nicaragua, that allows us to age the cigars for about 6 months. So, adding fermentation to cigar making, tobacco aging, cigar aging, you have around 4 to 5 years. So the cigars that you are actually smoking today, if you're smoking an Antaño 1970 or an Antaño Darko Rojo, you're probably smoking tobacco that was grown in the fields around 2011, 2012. And the tobacco that is being grown today will not reach your hand until 2020 or maybe later, depending on the grower and the manufacturer.
All right. We have Andres Dominguez saying Make a 4-5. Now we're gonna save that for another Facebook Live.
Yes. And then the next edition, maybe 4-5.
Henry Wells has a question about how to restore cigars from cracking, and that's a very tricky question.
That's a tricky question. But before we answer that, we want to invite you guys to like and to share this live feed. Most importantly, share your comments. We have a very special promotion. If you are in the US or even if you're outside of the US, one of our great partners, Famous Smoke Shop, is running a promotion right now. If you're watching this Facebook Live, you can actually go to their webpage and buy Antaño 1970 Machito at a very great discount,
Which
is
37% discount. If you
only for today.
Only for today. So go crazy. Go to a website. There it is. You gotta use the promo code Joya for that. Famous Smoke to get a box of Machito cigars.
Famous is one of our legendary customers in the United States, and they have an international reach. So take this opportunity to really enjoy and reconnect with the Machito, which is a great cigar that we promise it won't disappoint.
Now, another thing we're doing that's very special for you guys who are watching this is please share with us on the comments any anecdote that you have with the Antaño brand. It could be the first cigar that you smoked, it could be the first Antaño that you smoked, how it was, or an anecdote, a story that you have about it, and we're gonna give you a very special prize. Do we have some?
Yes, we actually do have it.
Regálame uno de esos moldes.
So,
No, el molde.
for the best story that you can share with us about Antaño, we will be giving away a personalized mold. This is a very old mold that was used in Joya de Nicaragua between 1994 and 2004. So this will be yours as a keepsake, as a collector item. You will not find this piece of artwork. It's carved by hand, and it was used to make some of the best Antaño 1970s back until 2004. So leave your comment, share this video, and you will be able to win this.
It is a real cool piece of memorabilia, so to say. And what we're going to do, we're going to engrave it with your name, and obviously give it to you with a letter stating that it was used in the production of Antaño cigars during that time. Now, something else that we have to share with you guys is a couple of pictures from you, from our fans, from our customers, from people that love the Antaño brand. Can we see those pictures? All right. Let me see right here. When we started it, when we announced the event that we're doing a Facebook Live, Allison shared this photo with us that we wanted to share with everyone else, and those are her wedding rings that she had done, like the Antaño Darko Rojo band. So that's pretty damn cool. Do we have another one of those?
Allison, we're humbled. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Allison. That's incredibly awesome. There you go. Yeah. That's definitely cool. These are just pictures from Instagram and from Facebook that you guys share with us. We love to see your Joya Nicaragua and your Antaño experiences. So please keep posting them. You can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, obviously on Facebook, at Joya Cigars. Thank you for sharing those Joya moments, as we call them, and don't stop.
We have been talking a lot about the process, the leaves. We saw Rudy making the cigar. Maybe we can share with them what are some of the main achievements that this brand has got so far. From not only the rating but also some of the comments, international comments, and the feedback overall.
The best, in my personal opinion, the best feedback that we get is from people that enjoy the cigar. It's astounding. Every time we go to an event, and you've been there, you've heard people saying how much they love the cigar and how much they actually change their mentality about smoking cigars because of this unique blend, Antaño. So we're very thankful, and I think that's the best rating, the best award you could ever give us, is that, your own personal experience about our cigars. So thank you very much. But we do have some professional comments and opinions about the cigar.
Mm-hmm. We've gotten ratings from, this one is from 2002, when Cigar Aficionado rated the Antaño 1970 with 91 points. It says, the release of the Joya Nicaragua Antaño line energized the slumbering Joya Nicaragua brand. So at the time, well, it was sort of happening. The filler is aged for 5 years, and the wrappers are the most select from the Nicaraguan Criollo seed used to wrap the line. A blogger friend, Bourbon and Broadleaf, said, from the moment I sparked this beauty up to the moment I put it out, it was nothing but another delight. My hat is off to Joya Nicaragua for creating such a splendid cigar at such an affordable price. I am happy to say the Joya Nicaragua Antaño 1970 proudly deserves a 9.8 rating, and everyone should find it. Buy it, and try it. Now, the Antaño has also been awarded by Cigar Journal with the Best Value Brand Award and so many others because of its great price point.
That's probably one of the main elements, besides the fact that you're getting a great smoke, great Nicaraguan flavor and profile. You get a cigar that also has a great price point. It's definitely one cigar that you can have, in your humidor as part of your everyday smokes, and it's one that won't disappoint. That's for sure.
I just want to remember everybody that Famous Smoke Shop, our partner in the United States, is running a promotion for 37% off. If you go right now and put the promo code 30% off Joya Antaño 1970 Machito, the 20 count box. So if you haven't enjoyed the Machito, this is the best opportunity to get your hands on a box of Machito.
We got a review by Stogies Review on the Antaño Darko Rojo. Let me read it. It says, the Joya Nicaragua Antaño Darko Rojo has one of the darkest wrappers I've seen. It literally looks like a mouth-watering dark chocolate bar. The Darko Rojo is a Nicaraguan puro containing 75% ligero tobacco. The Joya Nicaragua Antaño Darko Rojo's wrapper is specifically from the Jalapa Valley of Nicaragua, which is why it has that it has that sweetness to it, typical from the Jalapa Valley region.
There is an important thing that we haven't mentioned about the wrapper used in the Antaño, both in the Antaño Darko Rojo and the Antaño 1970, is that also in the wrappers we have different thickness or textures of wrapper. And in this case, in order to give that color and that flavor of the wrapper, we use very thick wrappers. In the case of Darko Rojo, if you touch that texture of the cigar with your hand, you will feel that it's very thick. And that's one of the reasons also that it's a little bit challenging in its burning, in its burnability. So know that, because although it has a great flavor, it will have some challenges to it, not only in the strength level. Yeah.
All right.
More comments. Let's see what people are saying.
Let me go back to this.
Any questions to Rudy? Ask Rudy anything.
Someone says, which beverage would you suggest pairing with the Antaño? Holy Sanderson says that. Well, I'm pairing my Antaño El Corojo with a dark beer, an oyster beer, sort of. It's a craft Nicaraguan beer called Moro Potente. But Juan and Ivan are pairing their Antaño 1970 with Flor de Caña Rum Centenario 18, which is 18 years old. And to be honest, what we say is pair it with your favorite drink. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can have it with a cup of coffee. You can have it with a craft beer. You can have it with rum on ice, whatever you like. As long as you enjoy it, that's what matters the most. Jeffrey says, are you guys coming to DC this summer?
No? Are we coming to DC? No, I don't think so. We at least not ourselves, but we have our reps from the region.
Maybe Daniel.
Daniel, our brand manager. Shout out to Daniel, who's probably watching us. But we have Raymond from the DC area, who's a great Drew Estate rep. He'll be probably around DC area. Who else?
Well, there's a question. Elias asked, why is it so hard to find in Miami?
Why is it hard to
find in Miami? What do you get?
You can find Antaño 1970 and Joya, Nicaragua. You can find them in Miami at Neptune.
That's one of the biggest stores.
Neptune. You can find them also at Casa de Montecristo, Smoke Inn, 3J's, more to the north of Miami. At all the 3J stores. You can also find them at, what's the name of Celine's dad's store? South Beach, Brickell? Brickell, a couple of stores in Brickell. You can find Antaño 1970 and all the Joya lineup there.
We're gonna answer that. We're gonna comment on your question. Mike McDonald asks, how much does weather affect the taste of cigars? And he's doing an analogy between wine and tobacco, in the sense that he has other years where when certain tobacco crops don't taste good when smoking. So that's another question he has.
That's a very interesting question, and it's a very hard question to respond, because generally we don't use one type of leaf in the cigar, unlike wine, where you're using, unless it's a mix, you're using the grapes from one area, generally from the same region, and aging them and fermenting them. In the case of cigars, we're mixing the different tobaccos from different origins, from different farms, from different varietals of seed, and that's the first challenge of being able to identify the difference, the influence of the weather or the vintage on the tobacco. But there are big differences. For example, the amount of sunlight in the year, the amount of water and the amount of minerals, nutrients on the soil will affect the flavor of the tobacco, and you will generally find it through acidity. When the pH levels of the land is not proper, you will find that bitterness in some tobacco leaves, and you will also find some differences. And the best indication of that is the color of the ash. There are some variations in the color of the ash as a result of the conditions of the soil and the weather in that particular year.
Now, Jeffrey, about the DC question, Daniel, our U.S. brand manager, was just telling me that we're not going to be in DC this summer, but we're going to be in Virginia. Dr. Cuenca, which is Joya Nicaragua's chairman, is going to be visiting. So check out DrewEstate.com, which is our U.S. distributor, on their events page. You're going to see some of Joya Nicaragua's events there.
And you also have to download the Drew Diplomat app. We mentioned this last time. It is the best forum for cigar lovers out there. So Drew Diplomat in Android and iOS, download that, and you will find a community of a great community of cigar lovers, and there you can share your experiences of smoking not only Joya de Nicaragua, Drew Estate products, and all great cigars there. So we invite you to download Drew Diplomat app.
Jeffrey says, close enough, thanks. So, all right, we hope you get there. Bryson is asking,
I'm sorry, just in the meanwhile, while we're reading the question, maybe we can show Rudy doing an Antaño 1970 at his own pace, instead of doing it slow, so that people can get an idea of, how quick an Antaño has been made.
At factory speed, basically.
A tu velocidad normal, sin necesidad que sea show, hacerlo como que está tranquilo, para que vean ellos que tan rápido se hace.
Do we have that shot? All right. So Jesse, my man, he just shared the link on the comments for the Drew Diplomat. Click on it, download it if you're in the US, and check in your cigars. Win some great points, and then you're gonna get rewards for it. Awesome pieces done by Subculture Studios in Esteli. So check that out. Now back to the question. Bryson is asking what tobacco varieties is the binder and the filler of the Antaño 1970, besides the regions.
They are seeds grown in Nicaragua. The fillers are the proprietary seed, which is sort of a hybrid seed that our grower uses, and unfortunately we cannot disclose the actual name of the varietal, but the binder is indeed a Habano Criollo binder.
Daniel also answered about where you can find cigars in Miami.
He's doing his homework.
Yeah.
Gracias, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. Absolute Cigars in Brickell, across Brickell City Center. All right, so something else that we have to talk about is what's next with the Antaño brand. A lot of people ask us now something before we get into that. Last year it was the 15th anniversary of Antaño, of the Antaño brand, and now something we have to, it's worth mentioning, is the fact that not a lot of cigar manufacturers get to say one of their newest brands has been on market for 15 years. And one of the most important aspects of the Antaño 1970 is that it's actually our best-selling cigar in the U.S. So thank you guys for making it so popular, for sharing it with your friends, and for always keeping it in your humidors. We have a surprise up next.
Yeah, sure. So Antaño is where it is at this point. It's a great brand. As Carlos said, it's the best-selling brand in the United States. It's not only because of the great work of people like Rudy at the factory, Mario, Leonel, and the people leading the factory, but also because of you. This is a brand that has, as you saw today during the whole show, it's a brand that has had a lot of history and a lot of work behind it. So a few years back, and it was actually the first time that Joya Nicaragua had released an edición limitada or limited edition, we launched the Antaño 1970 Gran Reserva. It was a special blend, similar to the Antaño, to the current Antaño, but one main characteristic, and it was the fact that it was aged for 5 years. Most of the fillers in that tobacco had a special process going on, and after the 15 years of the Antaño, we decided to redo something special as that. So this year, especially during the IPCPR at the show, you're going to have the opportunity for those who have the chance to come to the show, retailers, consumers, everybody, to taste for the first time that relaunch, reinterpretation of the Antaño 1970 in what it's going to be called Antaño Gran Reserva. I don't know if you want to say something else about it.
So the Antaño Gran Reserva will be a special take on the full-bodied and strength level. This will complete the family of Antaño to 3 levels of strength, from up down, starting from Antaño Darko Rojo, a 6 out of 5 in terms of strength, Antaño 1970, 5 out of 5, and Gran Reserva, which will be a little bit less strong than the Antaño, more 4.5 out of 5, because of that aging process of the tobaccos, which give you a more solid strength level and smoother profile. So if you get the chance to have the Antaño Gran Reserva in your stores, make sure you grab one, enjoy it, enjoy the whole family of Antaño, because it's truly a unique, a very special cigar.
Now this is breaking news, basically. This is the first time we disclose what's coming up next. So be patient, because it's not in the market right now. As Juan and Ivan mentioned, we're gonna officially launch it at this year's IPCPR in Las Vegas, which is in July. But wait for it, because some other changes are coming to the Antaño family. Not only that, we don't want to disclose that much. I think the Gran Reserva is already big news, and so please be patient and be on the lookout for that.
More questions? Comments?
We have what's the box count and the price point going to be like on a box of Antaño Gran Reserva. That's
the box count is going to be 20 count boxes. The price point, we'll share with you a little bit later of that. But it's going to be very close in the whole family range.
Remember, the Antaño family, it has always been perceived, or actually developed, to be a brand that is a great smoke at a great price. So you can keep that as a promise. It's going to be a great price for a great cigar.
okay.
So, one last time, please remember, share your thoughts, but also there's a promo running with Famous Smoke Shop, a great discount on Machito from Antaño 1970. I know that the winter has gone by, but this is a very nice, quick, short smoke for your drive back home from work or from wherever you're heading. This is also a great summer smoke. So please make sure you pick up this promo. The guys at Famous have been courteous enough to support us with this, and so don't lose that opportunity.
Elias Rivera, hey brother, he says Joya is one of the best cigars. When I go back to Nicaragua, I would like to visit your facility. So Elias, of course, if any of you guys watching, well, gentlemen, ladies, you want to visit Nicaragua, let us know. Send us a message on Facebook, and we'll let you know how you can coordinate with us a visit to the factory, which is it's pretty cool to see for yourself. The whole process is 100% handmade, and it's actually the oldest cigar factory of Nicaragua. So there's a lot of tradition in that building, and it's something beautiful to see.
It's special. It's quite unique.
All right, so
share your best Antaño memory, your best Antaño story, and you'll get the chance to win a great memorabilia. I think we'll be running this after the live, so we'll be choosing maybe the winner after.
We're gonna give it some time for you guys to write down your Antaño story, your Antaño experience with us. Just share it. Some of you guys have done it already. Give us some time to read them, to share them with the team. And as we said, you're gonna get a unique piece, a mold that was actually used for producing Antaños back in the day. By the way, we don't use the wooden molds anymore. That's basically just for show for now, and it's a piece of memorabilia. What's used now as a standard in the industry are plastic molds. So that's why we say it's worth, I mean, a lot of history.
It is.
That's it. Thank you, Rudy, for joining us.
If you ever have the chance to meet Rudy on the streets down here in Managua, at the airport, or at an event, or at the factory, and possibly soon around the world, please make sure you smoke one of his cigars. In particular, the Antaño 1970 made by him is almost the perfect smoke. So I invite you to enjoy.
He's like a gourmet chef, Rudy, only with tobacco. So don't miss out on that opportunity. ¿Algo que quieras decir, Rudy, a la gente que fuma Antaño?
Un saludo.
Bueno, un saludo sobre todo, ¿verdad? Y gracias por estar pendiente de este video. Y que sigan disfrutando. dando tabaco. Que el próximo siempre será el mejor.
So he's saying thank you for enjoying this tobacco. The next one will always be the best one.
Gracias, Rudy.
All right, so we want to thank everyone for watching us, for joining us on this Joya Live. It's our second one. There are more to come. We want to apologize for being a little bit late. As we mentioned earlier on, we had a couple of technical difficulties, but that's how it is down here in Nicaragua, and we love it. And yeah, please remember, share your stories on Antaño. Use the promo code Joya on Famous Smoke to get that 37% off. That's only valid for tonight, so go ahead.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers from Nicaragua.
Gracias, Rudy.
Thank you.